Hello guys, Crudeless here and welcome to another video. This one is going to be about my user interface. And it is part of a 3-video series on my add-ons that I'm currently using as of April 2016. So, starting off, we're going to go into my add-on list here, and I'm only going to turn on the add-ons that have a particular use in my interface. So I'm going to turn on Bag Brother, Bagnon, Grid, KG Panels, and Move Anything, Omen 3, SCADA, and Tidy Plates, and as well as ElvUI, config, and all the ElvUI options. You get ElvUI, the add-on, by simply googling ElvUI and downloading it from a separate site. It is not available from curse.com as many of the other add-ons are. So I'm going to start off on a new character, and then we're going to transform the UI without any other changes to the UI from the start, and I'm going to take you from beginning to the end through all the changes in the interface. Okay, so let's head off by entering the world of Rezok the Goblin. So immediately we get some information here. Let's just head out of the house first. So, oh, a buff there, thank you. ElvUI installation. So we get this here to make the installation process of ElvUI a little easier. The in-game configuration menu can be accessed by typing /EC command or by pressing the C button on the minimap. That's up here, down there. Press the button below if you wish to skip the installation process. Please press continue button to go into the next step. So it basically gives you this installation option here, which is really nice if you're new to ElvUI. So let's click continue though. ElvUI installation CVARs. This part of the installation process sets up your World of Warcraft default options. It is recommended that you should do this step for everything to behave properly. So yeah, we should probably set up CVARs. Let's click this one. It's of high importance. So if you click this button, I guess I already did that, but something is about to happen when you click set up CVARs. Continue chat. It's of important medium. You can click set up chat here. As you can see, the chat bars change like this. If I can continue next, we can choose a theme setup. You can choose between classic mode at high resolution as a physical DPS, for example. And if we do, let's choose horizon bar icons, and it'll basically give you a certain setup like this. When we click finish, it'll reload the screen, and you'll get a default setup for ElvUI, which is like this, without the SCADA there. Let's just go into without the KG panels and the SCADA. These are basically just because of my and the grid right down here as well. These are there in their position because I have certain. They default to the default position, which I've configured to be down there. Okay. Technical support with the TukUi. You can disable these messages, even though they will help you if you're new to this thing. You can set your key bindings and a lot of stuff like that. By following these steps, you'll be able to get a lot of information about ElvUI. To open up the menu here, you click on the C here, or you can type /EV or /ElvUI, I guess, in your not /EV down in your chat panel. Okay. Before we do though, I want to remove these panels down here on the bottom of the screen. So I'm gonna do that in just a few moments here. I'm just gonna remove these. I'm gonna move them up to the top just for the sake of having them. We'll get back to these later on. These are basically just for the looks of things, to make things look a little nice. Okay. So if you open up the ElvUI menu here, you get a lot of options here. You can toggle tutorials by clicking this one. You can also click to run install process again. You can reset the anchors by clicking this one. It'll move everything back to the default position as it is right now. There are also different options here on the left side: action bars, bags, buffs, a lot of stuff like this. Since I am using the Bagnon add-on, I'm going to turn off bags here, as I don't want these two add-ons to interfere with each other. And here you get the option to change on your option for this character only. As in, when I go to the profiles here, you can set different profiles depending on which character you are currently logged into. So here I have all my alts. You can also create a new profile, which you can call, for example, Crudeless. AI UI, for example, and if we do that, then the existing profile will change to Crudeless UI, and we can also copy different settings I have from other characters if you want to use an add-on or a profile that you have used on another character, so you don't have to recreate the UI on all your characters that you have, which is nice. So if we go back here to the bags, we can turn this off. You don't have to click accept here before you've turned off all of the stuff you want to turn off. So, for example, Farmer, which is basically an additional thing for Sunsong Ranch in Pandaria. I'm not going to use that one. Watch frame, adjust the settings for visible in your watch frame quest log to your personal preference. I'm going to turn this off as well. And there are lots of filters here that you can add, and also it will regulate enemy nameplates, for example. The chats down here, you can turn these off if you have another chat add-on, for example. And there are icons for buffs like these up here that the add-on can regulate as well. And especially in equipment here, if you open the character menu here, you can see that there is a 100% icon on each items indicating the current durability on them. You can turn this off by clicking this durability right here. There is also the item level. You can turn that on or off here if you want to see this on your equipment screen. However, I like to turn these off to keep the equipment screen light and clean. Okay, so if I click reload now, then those things will be they will be gone, and you can see the chat has gone back to its original form like this. So you can do whatever you want with the chats. Really, I prefer to use them in their regular forms. I don't really used to like to use the ElvUI chat because I don't think it looks that nice, to be honest. In addition to that, you have the skins, which are really important. For example, if I open up the achievement menu here, you can see that these achievements are, well, the screen is black. In addition to like my collection screens, my journals like this, they have this new design here. The spell books look like this. I don't really like the spellbook design. So if you want to go back to use the old spellbook design, you have to find the spellbook down here, for example. Click this one, and then you reload, and the spellbook will be back in its old form. And when I open my spellbook now, you can see that it is like this, and everything is as it's used to be. And that's really nice if you don't like certain parts of the interface. For example, if you don't like this interface for the reputations, if you don't like the new talent screen or the map or things like that, then you can go and change that in your the skins here. Okay, so that's really important to know. Nameplates, we are using the nameplates for from Tidy Plates to regulate different enemy nameplates, but this add-on to make the new nameplates show up, you have to go into your system options here. Not system interface, and go to name options, and you have to turn on this friendly unit icon right here. And as you can see, the icons here will change to a more modern look like this. If I go to close, then I can turn this on. There we go. So it'll basically turn into it'll configure the icons. Wow, why does it work? Why did it turn off now? I have no idea why it turned off. Oh well. There we go. There, it's back on. So you can see these turn into a more modern look if you want to use this. However, I like to use the old ones because I find it to be nostalgic to have these old enemy nameplates, or friendly nameplates, I must say. Okay. More info on the current interface. You can go on here to toggle the anchors. This is what you do to basically move things around. So you get this thing which looks like a freaking like there's so many options here that you can play around with. So you have arena frames, boss frames, player buffs, minimap, chats, the action bars you have right here, target frames, all that good stuff. You can move these around wherever you want to. So if you want to have a terrible interface like this one, yeah, then you can do that if you want to. So the way I had it configured is I basically moved my bars down here in the middle. I removed some of them because I don't really use that many bars. I don't need the bar space because I use a lot of add-ons. I prefer to have things neat and tidy. Boss buttons, moving that to the top. Usually you put pet stuff to the left. These raid frames, usually put those on up to the left here, or either remove them, as you'll see later on. Raid 40 frames as well. I'm just gonna get these out of the way for now. So the player frame, usually you can have these up here on the left if you want to have the old style interface of World of Warcraft, or you can move them down here to the bottom as I have. I have them right down here next to the bars here. So if you're gonna make our new custom interface like this, then you can move these to the bottom here. And for example here, you can see the red lines indicating where the middle is and where to get some symmetry. This is really nice to have this this way of gauging with the rulers here. There are some snapping currently, so if you turn off sticky frames, then you'll be able to move things freely, so you can put them in the place you want them to. So if you do it like this and put the bar on top, let's turn on sticky frames again to make the bar snap. You can also basically do minute and small adjustments by clicking on these arrows here if you want to be really careful about where you put stuff. So here we go. Now that's the current interface we have. If you want to do more stuff, we can go in and like toggle the rest of the things we have as well. For example, you can add bars on top of here if you want to. And you can play around with where you want to put things basically. And now, if you want to choose things more carefully and more in depth, there are lots of options here that you can play around with. For example, here are the action bars, and if you target an enemy, for example, the indicators here on the bar will change colors depending on if we are out of range, for example, or if we are out of power, if we're out of mana or focus. We can basically change these colors here. You can also indicate combat state changes, and you can basically regulate all the different bars we have. So we have this one is bar 1, and we have bar 3 and 5 here, as you can see by the anchors. Bar 5 and 3 and 1. So if you want to change bar 1 to have less buttons, then you simply just remove them here at the buttons. You can also change the size to make things big. If you have trouble seeing things, for example, you can make things bigger or smaller. If you want to have like a really minimalistic size on your UI, for example, you can make it this small. Oh, that's pretty small there. And you can also like make it make the alpha smaller if you want to see through them and stuff like that, which is really nice. And you can do that for all the bars here. And some of them are enabled, they are not enabled, so you can turn bars on or off by clicking these enabled here to get like pet stance, battles, and stance bars and stuff like that. So you don't really need to have all of them on, so I'm just going to use these few here. Another thing I like to do is to have the player aura bars. These are basically indicators of the buffs I have, and the above here we have the target aura bars, which are the buffs that my enemy has. So I usually move these up to each side here. I don't really use the player aura bars. I like to have a view of the enemy aura bars, of course, to see the debuffs of the enemies. So usually it's just above the target frame and my frame, but I prefer to have them up here just for the sake of having like, I guess, I haven't really thought about why, but I just have that preference, I guess. So yeah. What happened to bar 1 there? Did it stick underneath here? I think it did. Yeah, it stuck to the side here. That's why it's really difficult sometimes to have the sticky frames on. So it will require you to be a little finicky about what you do with the movements here. So yeah, you gotta play around a bit. It's not seamless operation there, to be honest. Now the buffs and debuffs are pretty cool as well. Here we have another option here. You can consolidate buffs, for example, to make them appear a fewer buffs, so you don't get your screen filled with buffs up here, which is really nice. And you can basically regulate how big they are, how big the fonts are. Let's go back to general buffs here. So you can change the font underneath the buffs. You can change the font size. I mean the font. You can change it to adventure if you want to be adventurous. You can change it to. I usually use the either Helvetica or the ElvUI font basically. Let's see here. So that looks pretty nice if you want to have a view of your cooldowns and stuff like that. Also, you can do that in your action bars. You can do it each action bar separately. I believe you can actually. Well, I'll go into that later on. Here we go. Here you can choose all the different fonts for the action bars number, for example. If they have an outline macro text, you can remove macro text if you don't want to have that available. Stuff like that. I usually turn off macro text, to be honest, because I don't really like having that on my icon, because I like to watch the icons because I think they are beautiful, quite beautiful. Data texts, these basically display down here next to down at the bottom here. So you can see there are some durability displayed here on the left side of the screen. If I click that, it'll open the character panel there. There are some resources here. If I click on this one, it'll open the the garrison overview, even though I don't have a garrison yet. There are also some FPS counters and the MS and stuff like that. And here we have time with the calendar, money, we don't have any, and yeah, that's pretty nice to have. You can move these around. Here we see the buffs as well that we... Oh, no, these are not buffs. These are indicators of examples of different stats here. And also my friends. I have one friend. Really nice. That's good to know. So, anything else we want to go over? Yes, there are a lot of stuff with the... of course, there are stuff with the nameplates. We've seen those already. Not really care for those. We can turn these off. I don't really want to reload just yet, though. There are important things with the tooltips. If I mouse over these, you can see there are some tooltips down here as well. Oh, there we go. Brute Enforcer. These display down here. I can turn those off if I don't want them. Or I can change the visibility here. I can add a health bar, for example. If I mouse over that, you can see the health bar down there to the right, on the right side of the screen. I can change visibility, make it to hide whenever I get in combat, for example. If I find it to be in the way, then that's really nice. I can move this one, by the way. Where's the tooltip? There we go, tooltip. You can move the anchor for it to whatever you want to. So if I mouse over this one now, you can see the anchor has moved up here instead. That's really nice to know. Nameplates. No, not nameplates. I always messed that one up. We need to find the unit frames here. This one is one of the most important parts of ElvUI, in my opinion. So the player frame, the unit frames are basically these here. And the target, the player, and we also have targets of target, we have focus frame, we have pet frame, we have these party and raid member icons, and all that good stuff. So here is where you regulate those. You can choose to extend the width of the player bar, you can choose the height, and also you can indicate when you want to be alerted by having low mana. You can fade out stuff, really nice. And also you can turn these off. If you don't want to have the focus frame, for example, you can turn it off. If you don't want to have target, if you want to have target of target, you can enable that one. As you can see, it one goes up here. So if I target an enemy and this one enemy targets a tank, for example, then the tank will show up here in this frame. You can also turn on targets, which will show up here. So if the tank is targeting a boss and the healer is targeting, yeah, you know the drill here. And that's really nice to know. So this is basically where you configure how high and how big the icons for the different classes should be. And there are additional configurations you can do as well. I prefer to turn off the raid frames since I'm going to use another add-on for that. Okay? So turning off those fits best for me. Tank frames as well, and tank target. Really nice to have though if you wanna have basically awareness of what is going on around you. This add-on contributes pretty well to that. So here you have a lot of different options as well. You can change the fonts that display here, because this font is pretty hard to read in my opinion. And also the design of the bars here, you can choose some pretty nice ones. I prefer to use the minimalist one. I think that looks really nice. And the font, as always, let's pick Helvetica. Or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should use another one. Let's take a look at Accidental Presidency. Oh, that was a really small one though. You can make it bigger if it's hard to see. Stuff like that. So Arial narrow with a no outline will make it look like this, for example. Okay. You can also give it a class background, which is really nice. For example, rogues will have a different background than warriors, for example. You can get like make the health of the target appear, for example, a blue if you're a let's see here, if you're a tank. Now if you're a mage, it'll appear blue. If you're a warlock, it'll appear yellow, purple, I mean, and rogue will appear yellow, stuff like that. So you can basically choose this here. As you can see, class health, that was the one I wanted to have, class health there. So it'll turn it yellow since I'm a rogue here. You can also change the colors of all the different options here. Health backdrops, tapped, whether an enemy is tapped or not. Cast bar. If I do a casting, in an animation, it'll display here on the cast bar that is right underneath here on this bar at the bottom. But yeah, more precisely, you can regulate a lot of this good stuff here in each of these panels here. There are these drop-down menus that you can choose to have. So, for example, target frame here, we can go into, or let's go for player frame. Let's see if we can change our power to another color. For example, we can choose to make our energy, we can make it green. There we go. We have green energy. Wonderful. Let's go back to, or you can choose it to be like a class power. I prefer to put it as class power. Yeah. You can also add a portrait. If you miss the portrait you had of your guy, it'll basically pop an indication down there, which is really nice. You can also configure the rotation of the model. You can zoom in and make it really big. You can have a lot of fun with this. You can make it 2D as well. Oh, let's just reset that to whatever it was previously. There we go. You can have a portrait here that doesn't require as much memory to render as the 3D model there. If you want to, though, it's up to you. And you can do that for targets and focus frames and all of that stuff. You can do the same, basically. PvP indicators, buffs. You can turn on separate buffs indicated down here as well, if you want to have that on. And the cast bar is regulated in here next to the player frame. So this is the player cast bar. And you can also change the width of this thing. So if I increase the width, it's a bit hard to... you can click show height is really important to do if you want to see how big it is, because if not, it's hidden until you do a cast, basically. You can also match frame with the width of the frame here, which is really nice if you want to keep things symmetrical. So what I have done on my user interface originally is I moved this thing inside here. And then I've moved the fonts inside the indicators of the health and the energy. I moved those down inside the health here. So for example, I can text offset the with the Y option here to make it appear a little lower, for example, like this, and then you have a pretty nice looking little player icon there. So that's Y offset for up and down, and X offset for left and right. So yeah, you can do it like this. That's what I've done in my, or similar to what I've done in my main user interface. And you can basically do the same with the targets, for example, or the targets of the target, and you can select how much information you want to have in the next to the icons. Okay, so the class bar is also pretty important. You want to have this enabled. Because this will regulate, for example, combo points. It'll regulate or show you, not regulates. It will show you holy power, arcane charges, combo points, all of those class resources that are important to your class, of course. And you can move those around if you want to. I think, where's the class bar? We have player aura bars. One negative point about this add-on is that it's pretty hard to locate all of the different stuff that's located around in this configuration bar here. Currently, the experience bar is here and the reputation bar is here. We can change those to be a little different as well. And the class bar is down there. That's pretty strange. Found it though. So if you want to change the experience, you want to go to player frame. No, not player frame. You're going to go to unit. Where is it? Unit frames. Pretty hard to find that one actually. Or is it an action bar? Yeah, there it is, XP bar. You want to go to general, and in the drop down menu here you find the XP bar, and you can increase the width of this thing like this if you want to have a long bar, or you can make it like this. Then you have a standard XP bar there for your liking if you want to see that one, like the old times. And you can move this whatever you want to. For example, you can have it at the bottom. You can do whatever you want. And you can track your progress amazingly well. Minimap button, I usually turn this one off. It'll basically make the add-ons appear in a bar down here below your map. You can also move that one around. To be honest, it's a minimap button here, so you can move that to wherever you want to. But I usually turn them off because I prefer to display them on the minimap instead. So as you can see here, we have the same way you have the circle add-ons around the map here. Okay. Oh, and there we have Omen toggled. That's nice to know. So let's open up ElvUI once more and let's go and check out the map. Here we have minimap. So you can enable and disable the minimap if you want to. You can increase the size of this thing, and it will adapt to the new size. If you want to have a big map, that's good for you. You'll be able to see a lot of stuff here. You can also choose to like put where your location is, the calendar. You can hide or show the calendar and choose where you want the mail to be. So you can put it in the top left, for example, top right. Move the icon around. Icon difficulty, all of these things you can leave basically where it is. Although garrison, I like to show the garrison option because I want this to be on the map. I usually make the map a little smaller though. And I also like to hide these icons here. The add-ons usually have an option to hide the minimap icon on each separate separate indication there. So that's pretty nice to know. Okay, next off is the well, we can move the icon, of course. We can move the map to wherever you want to. So on my other user interface that I've made, I put the minimap down here next to my player icons because I think that's pretty nice. So it'll be like quite similar to this actually. So with the minimap down here, and I have the text for the chat. Unlocking this thing is pretty easy. Just right click on the option of the tab here, and you can drag it like this and lock it when you're done. So that's generally what I've done with my other user interface like this, because you don't really need that thing up here. Now I have complete vision over my entire screen. I don't have anything blocking my vision up here. For example, if I fight in PvP and I see something, oh, incoming to the right, or when I'm raiding and stuff like that, it's really, really nice. Now I'm going to show you what to do with the other add-ons that I have. For example, the Omen. Just move it to the area where you want it, like this, and then you write /omen config, I believe it is. Yeah, there we go. And here you can click on test mode to see the different bars in action. Now if you want to configure how they look, you can go into bar settings. You can choose to have animate bars. You can change the height of them to make fewer appear, like this. You can also remove the some of the settings. You can remove the title, for example, to make things a little smoother. You can remove certain classes and stuff like that, which is really nice. And change the font. I usually change the font to fit the rest of the user interface. So Arial Narrow, for example, will make it similar to the ones we have down here, which is nice. Use my bar color, which is really nice too, as well. But anyway, that's the digression here. Since we're using ElvUI, the ElvUI option is added to other add-ons as well to use as an interface. So if you choose ElvUI blank here as a background texture, we get this white shitty looking thing right here because everything is white. So if you go over to the add-on or to the color selection here and turn the opacity down to 0, then you'll have an invisible background there, which is nice. And you can remove the texture for the border as well, and not turning into glow, but I'm going to remove it entirely, so it looks like this. Now I can lock it in this position and turn off test mode, and it'll look basically invisible. But I want to have some sort of texture around this thing, as well as I want to do with SCADA here. SCADA works basically the same way. You go into the configure mode by clicking on the cog there, and you go into the windows like this, and click on the plus button here, and you'll be able to change the window options. I selected ElvUI blank here as well, and no border texture, and you can select the scaling of the interface, and you can choose where you want to have it. So I just basically made it, I gave this background, actually I gave it, I think I gave it black color, although you can make it transparent if you want to, because we are going to have some fun with this thing, with this other add-on called KG Panel. So anyway, what we're going to do with the KG panels is we're going to write /e KG panels config, and this will make us able to move these little icons that I've created already to a different location. Now the first thing we want to do with KG panels is we want to go into layout and create a new layout name. So we want to create Crudeless layout, let's call it layout 1. Okay, so we click OK, and we click create on this thing. and oh, that should be there we go, create. You have to click enter to make the text go into the option here. So we can set this as your active layout. Let's click activate, and when we've done that, we can create different panels. So we want to go here into the active panels option, create a panel. We're going to call it panel 1. We're going to click OK here, and we're going to create a new panel. Hey, there we go, panel 1. So where is this panel 1 now? It's right here. And if you click on the bottom side of this thing, you can create a panel however big you want to. Looks kind of ugly though, so we want to change the background to, I guess, solid. Yeah, let's make it solid. Let's make it black and not see-through like this, for example. And that looks fairly decent. And you can also change the texture, so we can choose to have the solid textures, or we can choose to have ElvUI blank, as we've seen in the other textures as well, which is really nice. And the border, let's make it none, as we did with the other ones. Okay. So you can also add text here if you want to, or advanced textures. You can import textures from here, from an art library, for example, that you can import from like, you can make stuff in Photoshop or Paint even, and import that into TukUi panels and make your own custom interface. But I just like using these black squares here. You can configure this to be like any size you want to, and just move it back behind or in front of the stuff you want to have. Like this one, for example, if I want to have this black bar down at the bottom, or here at the middle, for example, covering the action bars right here, and I can just make that one right here, and the size of this thing, usually measure it out and make sure things are even and nice looking. And then when you're done, you go to the panel option right again, and you click on lock panel. There we go. That's basically it. You can also choose to have basically a level, so you can have multiple backgrounds on top of each other by changing the levels of this thing. So if you wanna have like multiple layers on top of each other, then just change the particular sub levels on each of them. Okay. You can select the strata here basically. If you want to have it high, you can basically make them go in front of the key bindings if you want to, or you can go low to be behind it, and basically rearrange stuff like this. So TukUi panels is really nice if you want to just add some different like boxes and stuff to your UI. Okay, so you can add a box here, for example, next to in the chats. You can add one over the threat meter and the DPS meter, for example, to make it look kind of fancy. That's pretty nice. Also, we have the grid here that I usually put down here on the right side of my my bar here. Let's make sure we're not in default profile though, because I don't want to mess up my profile as I did with TukUi panels. So let's go into I guess rogue. That's a good profile, right? So we can copy that from default there. And grid is basically a way to utilize I guess a compact view of raids and groups. And I just like having it there. I talked a little bit about grid in the video about all my add-ons here, but you can add indicators for different debuffs. I have this other add-on as well, which gives me icons down in the corners that look like this, which give me indications of whether my people are in trouble or if they are not, which is good, especially when healing and tanking and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the little explanations I had. At least I showed you what I use and how different stuff works. Even though the add-on kind of looks like, the user interface kind of looks like shit. It could be like improved upon a great bit, especially because I have different looking player bars here and stuff like that. But it takes quite a while to actually make a proper UI, and I wanted to focus on different aspects of the add-on so you can make your own, for example. Now in the next part of this series, I'll be looking at TSM, Trade Skill Manager, and I hope you guys will watch that video as well, because yeah, you might be able to earn a lot of gold with the add-on, and it'll basically shorten the time of the amount of time it'll take you to do a lot of stuff in World of Warcraft. So I hope to see you guys around, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and like or dislike it, and please leave a comment if you want to see more or less, I guess. So thank you guys, and see you guys next time. Bye.